Alright, now my question is now on special relativity. 7.1, starting with the 7.1 given here. They say define an initial reference frame. Define an initial reference frame. In a frame of reference, no a reference frame. What can we say a reference frame is in simple terms? A set of coordinate systems. Yes, basically, a reference frame, it's a set of coordinate system that that defines any position, velocity, the acceleration. But here, when we now say we say a reference frame, yes, it's an initial reference frame. We need to mention at least a keyword out too. Is that we have got to Fnet OZ. So initial reference frame is a reference frame. It's a reference frame in which the net force acting on an object is 0 newtons. So we get the thing of Ilantunjan. We get the thing of we get the initial reference frame. It relates to Newton's first law. And Newton's first law states when an object is not acted upon by any force, no matter when there is zero net force on an object, the acceleration is also zero. And also when the object is moving at a constant velocity. So we have two options for an initial reference frame. So it's a reference frame in which the net force is zero, and what else? Or let's just put an or, the object is moving at constant velocity. Okay, the object is moving at constant velocity. Shuti when we are talking about the initial reference frame, we have got the object, a mover at a constant velocity, or we have got the object that is not moving at all. So that is 2 marks. Initial reference frame there. So it relates with the first law, as I've already said, it's the law of inertia. So an initial reference frame with zero net force, 0 newtons net force, or the object is moving at a constant velocity. Well, I can say the object is moving at a constant velocity. And then what's define an event. In physics, what is an event? What is an event in physics terms? We say what an event is a point in space. So it's a point in space and time. So when we're talking about an event, we need to have 2 things. The space where the event happens, or the space where an object is, and the time that the object is in that space. So it's a point in space and time. So it's a point in space time, they can say that. And then basically its function is to describe. So the event is chazelangani. It describes the object's position, an object's position at a particular time. So for example, if I say ukuthi njengamanje the physics students are at AL8, that is an event according to physics, because we are specifying the object's position at a particular time. Simple thing. So whenever the object is here at a certain time, then you know that's an event in physics. Yeah. So an event has to have space and time. Even in general terms, vele uze sithi sine event, kumele sazi ukuthi leyo event le iyenzeka. Okay? Yenzeka eBhundu noma yenzeka lezo indawo etshanini noma kanjalo. But whenever there is an event, you must know the space and the time. So it specifies the space and time. And then what's this? Write the Galilean transformations. So Galilean transformations, we've got 4 of them in total, right? So we've got 4 Galilean transformation. It is not that much of a thing. When the example would say, if you have got a car that is moving, and then you have got a person that is standing, and then they throw a ball or something like that. But such an example is just trying to say, it's just trying to say, Galilean transformation. They just try to say, even if you are at different positions, even if you are at different positions, and you are observing the same object, you'll observe it at the same time, you'll observe it at the same distance, in a sense. So not much anything about deep, but just know the Galilean transformation number 1, it says that the position of one object, which I will call x prime, is equals to x minus vt. So Ox is the position of another object minus the velocity times time. So there's just a difference in position to say, we have got 2 things that are at different positions. And the maba at different positions, it means that this position of one person is another person's position minus the speed that the person has moved times time. Yeah. Let's not be too deep on how it is. Probably I will make a session for that, but let's remember them. And then we know that the time is the same, but let's start with the velocity. Okay, let's just say, let's describe y. Y prime is y, z prime is z, and t prime is t. So it just means that people are observing the same thing at the same time. So the motion of that thing along the y and the z axis are the same, but along the x axis they are different. That is why Lago x, we have got x minus vt. So these are known as Galilean transformations. There are 4 of them, usually 4 marks, at least 2 marks each. So it's 4 marks. Just writing these things, there's nothing much about them. We are sure position changes, but the other dimensions, y no z, as well as the time dimension, the 4th dimension, which is time, it does not change. You and I are transformations, in short. And then what are the postulates? Write down the postulates of relativity. So the Einstein theory of relativity, remember, we've got 2 postulates. Wow. So that's why you can see 2 marks there. So this is 2 postulates of relativity. We have got the first one that says, laws of physics, they are the same for everyone. So basically, laws of physics, they apply to everyone in the same way, regardless of wherever they are. So basically, laws of physics, the theory just simply states the laws of physics applies to all. It applies to all observers. To all observers. Lama laws of physics, all the laws of motion that you can think of, it applies to all observers. So if you're watching something at one point and there's another person watching the same thing at another point, the laws of physics will be the same for them. So this person was actually suggesting there is no such thing known as a speed, absolute speed, and what. All right. And then again, another postulate of relativity is about the speed of light. To say, the speed of light, it is the same for all observers. So, the speed of light, the speed of light is the same. Is the same for all. Okay, speed of light in a vacuum specifically. So, the speed of light in a vacuum. So when you say that speed of light is in a vacuum, it just means that there's no force acting. It's just an ideal system where we don't have any external force. So speed of light in a vacuum is the same for all observers. So speed of light, it is the same for all observers, regardless, no matter despite, regardless of the the position of the light source or something like that. Yeah, regardless of the speed of the source, regardless of the speed of the source. So the speed of light, which is a constant, c is equals to 3 times 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. The speed of light, it is the same. It is the same for everyone. So the speed of light, Lena, it is the same for everyone. So it means light travels at 3 times 10 to the power 8 meters per second. It doesn't matter ukuthi i-light source yakho imove faster kangakanani. If ngabamba i-torch, totally people don't even see that light moves, okay? Because who sees ukuthi light moves? I'm sure people don't. We just see sekukhanya nje bese sicabanga vele bekukhanya. But basically light moves so fast and everyone observing that will see the same speed of light. So the speed of light is the same for everyone, regardless of the speed of the source. It is the same for everyone. So that is all about the theory. Not much about it. Let's just know this here. In basic sense, speed of light ibalulekile, especially for the calculations, because people, normal scientists, are able to predict events of the past, because the light actually takes time to travel from universes that are away from us. So they are able to try to see with the light how long has it traveled to reach us on Earth, and they're able to trace back what has happened in the past, something like that. So crazy phenomena. If you want to be an astronomer, you can go ahead and be interested. And then now I get a calculation that is important. So now a typical muon particle with a lifetime of 2 microseconds. So it means the muon particle, whatever that muon particle is, it has got a lifetime of 2 microseconds. So it can only live, it can only move or can only work. Its lifespan is just 2 microseconds. Actually, once it is measured in seconds, it is time, Manish. So we know that the time that this muon particle will take before it is probably destroyed, it is 2 microseconds. So this is 2 microseconds, which is equals to 2 times 10 to the power of -6, right? And then this is seconds. So you know the time taken to travel by this muon particle in its reference frame. It moves with the speed. So this particle has got a speed, let's just call the speed small letter v, and the speed yakona is 0.9978 c. 0.9978 c. This c here, what is it representing? The c is still the what? The speed of light. So it means what here they say it is 0.9978 times the speed of light. Okay, so singamshiye njalo sibe sesicabanga mhlambe is of no significance. In fact, when we want to find the actual velocity here, we'll say this is 0.9978 times 3 times 10 to the power of 8, because we know that the value of the speed of light in a vacuum is 3 times 10 to the power 8. So approximately now, let's just approximate what is going to be our speed here. This time this. 29 point. Times 10 exponent 7, and then this is meters per second. It's fine, this is meters per second. All right, so now sesiyazi speed and we know the speed as well as the time taken to travel by this muon particle. What is the distance that it should travel at the speed? Obviously, we know the lifespan of this muon particle is 2 times 10 to the power minus 6 seconds. And in NSCSU, we also know the speed at which it is traveling at. So is it hard to find the distance that it will travel in total throughout its lifespan? No, because we know that time and speed relate, in which equation the speed is equals to the distance traveled in its reference frame, whatever it is, over the what? Over the time taken to travel in that particular reference frame. So you can use whatever symbols that you want, but now use delta R. Lan ubani 2.99 into eyodwa. Alright, how sense times 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. Yes, it is the same thing. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, fine. So here we know that speed is equal to this, and do we know the speed of the particle? Siyayazi ngisho. Sithini is 2.99 times 10 power 8 is equals to the distance or the displacement in its reference frame from its initial point. Delta T is the time taken. Obviously, time taken in lifespan yayo ngisho, which is 2 times 10 to the power of minus 6. What will be the delta R here? Remember that this is in meters per second, this is in second. So our answer, the distance, it must be meters that we calculate there. So just cross multiply these two ends. 598 point. Okay, 68, right? And then so it's in what? Meters. So this is the distance traveled by the muon particle in its lifetime. The muon particle, when it starts existing, it will exist and start travel with this speed for this distance before it passes out, before it runs out, if it's something that runs out. So this one was not really much of a trick. It was not really much of a trick here, because it's simply you relating speed and time to find the distance. Now this one 5 marks. Now this 5 marks, which I think it wasn't 5 marks in another question. I think it was more than 5 marks. Yeah, but okay, in this case it was 6 marks. So it says, you see, how is it possible for the muon particle to be detected on Earth, which is about 9 kilometers away from the upper atmosphere? How is it possible? How is it possible for this muon particle to be detected on Earth, which is what? About 9 kilometers away from the upper atmosphere. Just actually, this means we see for us to detect something on Earth, that thing must be at least 9 kilometers above, away from the what? From the upper atmosphere. We do know the upper atmosphere, Anish. Yes, the thermosphere, to those who do geography. Yes, the upper atmosphere, it must be at least 9 kilometers away from it. So that is a Wazubiboni particle. So now they say, how is it possible for it to be detected on Earth? All right. So just a bit of a theory. Yabona, this is the time taken for the muon particle to travel with reference frame. So remember, a postulate of relativity said it said the laws of physics applies to everyone, to all it applies to all observers. So there is this thing known as time dilation. Time doesn't work the same way for us, for all of us, because, for example, in Mars, one day is not 24 hours exactly. It can be more than 24 hours, I'm not sure. But basically, time does not work the same way. So, Tina is cut, which we are perceiving, a one day, which is 24 hours. It is not the same as what other planets are perceiving, depending on the rotation of that planet. So, in a sense here, it means we see when something is moving at a certain place, when it gets to the Earth, there will be interceiving a time dilation. So isikhathi sayo to the other side is not the same as isikhathi sayo here on Earth. So they once said, you can do an experiment, you can send a 16-year-old to a planet, and then that 16-year-old will come back asesemncane but uzobusugugile, something like that. Just physics, too much, too many things. So basically, Tina, when we are saying how is it possible for it to be detected, actually, Tina, for something to be detected, it must be 9 kilometers ahead, away from the upper atmosphere. Should say for it to be detected, it must be at least 9 kilometers above the upper atmosphere. So let us try to see the actual distance here. I will see the distance traveled by this muon particle with reference frame of the Earth. Is it going to be 9 kilometers? Because it has to 9 kilometers. So let's just try to see the distance. Obviously, we're not going to use this distance because let distance linear is the distance traveled in its reference frame. Okay, in its reference frame. So on Earth, there will be a time dilation. So the time dilation, which is going to be, let's just say, this is going to be the time on Earth. So the time dilation, the new time on Earth there will be equals to the time in its reference frame, whatever you can call those variables, over the square root of 1 minus the speed squared over c squared. So this is a formula that we use to be able to calculate the time that something travels on Earth while it is in its reference frame. Because it will be 2 times 10 to the power of minus 6. It's not going to be the same time that it will travel here on Earth, because cinema reference frames that are different. So here, let's try to see on Earth, how long will it travel if it has got an initial time, which is a lifetime, which is 2 times 10 to the power minus 6 seconds, over the square root of 1 minus uv squared. Remember uv, the value of v is in 0.9978. So that's 0.9978 c. So lapos no 0.9978 c, right, squared. Okay, I won't substitute 3 times 10 to the power 8 because those c's will cancel each other out. But I'm substitute for your own convenience. So the time taken on Earth there will be equals to 2 times 10 to the power of minus 6 over. Lana, we know that when you expand this square, that's just your square root of 0.9978. And you're also going to square ubani, c as well. So this c squared and this c squared will just cancel out in actual fact. So to minimize the mathematics, I would just say this c squared also pumalan, nano c squared at the bottom cancels out. So actually we are only squaring those 0.9978. But otherwise, if that confuses you, the mathematics confuses you, it's fine. Substitute 3 times 10 to the power 8. Right now, still gonna get the same thing. So I'll just write this as the square root of 1 minus 0.9978 squared. Because remember, the squared applies to this constant as well as the what? As well as the c. And then now, find the time that it would spend on Earth with its initial lifetime of 2 times 10 to the power minus 6 seconds. What will we get there? Okay, to minimize wasting time, we've got 3.017 times 10 to the power of minus 5 seconds. So it means this will take this amount of time on Earth. So if it was traveling on Earth, it will take this amount of time traveling on Earth. And then now, Tina, remember, we want to see will it be detectable, because for it to be detectable, it must be 9 kilometers above. Just actually using this time and the speed of the particle, we must try to see will it travel a distance that is at least 9 kilometers. Because once thing I travel 9 kilometers, then you'll be able to detect it. So using this time, we can now say the average speed, since the speed there is 0.9978 c, we'll just assume it's a constant speed even though we're not told. So basically, the average speed that will be traveling on Earth will be the distance on the Earth's reference over the time on the Earth. So its speed yakhona it is still 0.9978 times c. As c, remember, it is 3 times 10 to the power of 8. So substitute manje. And then the distance traveled on Earth over the time on Earth, we now know on Earth it will spend 3.017 times 10 to the power minus 5 seconds. And then you cross multiply that, you'll get a distance traveled by this M1 particle on Earth. What are we going to get? 9031.0878. Okay, distance here, what are we going to measure it in here? In meters, and you should remember to the standard units using this formula. I'm sure this is meters per second. and then lokho kuwama-second. So automatically distance will be in meters. So now let distance abasiphe yona is 9 kilometers. Does it at least correspond to this distance traveled by the Mohn particle? Yes, because if we convert this to kilometers by dividing by 1000, we are going to get 9.03 kilometers. So the actual distance in traveled by the Mohn particle on Earth is 9.03 kilometers. So will this be detectable on Earth? Okay, if it was a question, but will this be detectable on Earth? Was it yes or no? It will be a yes, because for something to be detected on Earth, it must be at least 9 kilometers above the upper atmosphere. And this one, it travels 9.03 kilometers. That's at least 9 kilometers. So this will be detectable. But the question here just said, how is it possible for it to be detectable? So you are just proving using calculation. So this is detectable because your distance, it is at least ubani, at least 9 kilometers. Or you can say it is greater or equal to 9 kilometers. That is the mathematical reasoning, and that's the 6 marks that you get for that. So, almost